I'm outside Ultra Precision at Cranfield University. Now this is a very different story today. Here they design, develop and manufacture machine tools. Now these are really precision machine tools. In fact, these machines go beyond microns.
MTDCNC, bringing you the latest engineering news via video media.
Martin, you do something very different here at Ultra Precision, or this part Ultra Precision in Cranfield University. These are some of the parts that you have manufactured on machine tools that you've developed, correct?
Yes, that's correct. Obviously, to prove the machine tools which we designed and developed, you have to make something for proof of that machine tool. So these are some of the large science projects and some commercial projects which we've manufactured on the machines we've developed.
Okay, and engineers love seeing shiny componentry. So let's have a look at two of these. Let's start with this larger part at the top.
This large hemisphere is a thing called the Boltzmann sphere, or half of the Boltzmann sphere, and it's been developed for the National Physical Laboratory. Over the next 10 to 12 years or so, all the system international units are going to be redefined, and this is being used to redefine the Kelvin. So this will be the new standard for measurement of temperature in the future. And it's been machined to be accurate to 1 nanometer across its diameter. And that's been measured in 9 different instrument methods.
So you've had to develop a machine to produce this?
Yes, that's correct. One of the main problems of machining anything to this sort of standard is thermal control, vibration control, and then obviously positional control. And those aspects are certainly areas here at Cranfield University, the Centre for Precision Engineering, we've developed techniques in over many, many years that enable us to do this level of machining.
Very impressive. Let's have a look at the second one you're going to show us, or the second component you're going to show us.
Well, in a similar way, this is another large science project. This is a very small but very significant mirror surface for the James Webb Space Telescope. Now, we've produced here more surfaces than anybody else. Not the biggest ones, as you can probably tell, but certainly more of them. And there's 11 intersecting surfaces here which enable the near-infrared measurement instruments in the James Webb Space Telescope to be packed very closely together. And this has been manufactured so each surface is precise to 7 nanometers.
Again, pretty tight tolerances. Now, these are components, these two plus others, that you can't manufacture in using traditional type of machine tools. So what you do here is develop the machine tool in order to make these parts. So let's go into your workshops and have a look at what happens in there. Martin, this is your biggest workshop. What do you undertake in here?
This is where the larger machines are developed in here. It's a temperature-controlled environment. We have large blocks of granite to help with the vibration control, and we develop the mechanics for large pieces of equipment, so air-bearing spindles, the control systems themselves. But we're trying to do it at least on a manufacturing scale, so these are large area systems, so that's why we need such a big space.
You've got some automation in here. I mean, what's the FANUC Robo, or the FANUC Cell over here, the robotics?
The FANUC Cell is an experiment and a test to do machine polishing using a traditional robotic arm. And again, it's about the control of that robot arm and the positioning of the head. So in itself, it's quite a standard FANUC robot arm. But the control of its head, the rotation as well of the piece of glass, in that case it's a glass usually it's working on, and the accuracy of maintaining that position while developing a shape which is non-flat. So these are all aspherical surfaces, and we're trying to get to around about the 10 nanometers of surface finish with that type of polishing technique.
So somebody's come to you with a product that you need to achieve what you've just said, and you've gone to the market to find the solutions, coupled with your intellect and intelligence here to be able to develop that solution.
That's correct. I mean, there are for certain areas there are existing solutions, but sometimes they're either too slow, or they're too expensive, or they're not suitable for a production process. So if you have you can polish down to sort of nanometer levels, but the machinery for that is very expensive, and not everyone needs that. And there's a big gap sometimes between the micron and the nanometer. So to fill that gap, we often get projects where there's a commercial imperative for either cost or speed of throughput. Often they're linked, of course, and that's what in the case of the FANUC robot, that sells.
Now you are doing some manufacturing in here as well. You're doing some single point turning on a machine. You would commercially buy these machines to aid you in your development as well.
Yeah, we have several machines which are commercially purchased, which are, as you say, single-point diamond turning machines. And they help us develop some of the spindles, for example, so we don't have to develop a machine to make a spindle. We can buy a machine for that. If that's necessary, we do it. And also we can help other businesses who might not yet have access to that technology to see if these machines can be used for their requirements. So they can come here and rent it, if you like, effectively, or buy time on it, and we can manufacture a part they want just to see if it's possible before they then invest in their own machinery.
We are talking about ultimate precision here, aren't we? I mean, you know, we visit many machine shops and they're machining to microns. But you're going beyond that. I mean, what does this machine behind us achieve when you're turning?
The more nanotech machine achieves around about a half a micron, but we do have machines here which were developed under the Cranfield Unit Precision Engineering brand, which can achieve down to a nanometer actually of machine precision, and roughly around 10 nanometers and just under that of surface finish.
So over the years, you yourselves would have developed this machinery, and then somebody would have bought the license to then sell the products into a market that they know.
Yeah, sometimes we develop it and it's openly available because we are a university, so if it's developed openly, it's openly available. Sometimes if we're developing specifically for a company, that then gets commercially, it's owned by that company. If we're developing for a company, they own it, they pay for it and they own it. If we're developing other things which have a commercial imperative, we might license it out. But often, because again we're a university, we make those licenses incredibly low cost to access.
One of your latest projects, the Loxam machine, let's go and have a look at that.
Okay, let's do that.
This certainly isn't a normal machine tool, is it, Martin?
No, it's a very compact machine tool, a single-point diamond turning and milling machine, and it's designed to have high throughput in a small volume, so to make it a much easier machine to use.
So what's the product that you're actually developing this machine for?
It's developed for small parts which have high volume, so watch parts, optics for laser guidance, etc., and anywhere where you need better than sort of micron of precision, but you need it in a high volume. You're producing a lot of maybe of the same part.
And what about when you're looking to achieve that tolerance? How does this machine maintain or not grow thermally, or all the axis moving together, you maintain that precision? How does it all work?
It's got a very sophisticated internal thermal control, and it also has a very small air volume of machining space. And then on top of that, it has automated loading and unloading. So the space where the machining occurs isn't being continuously evacuated to the atmosphere. It's reasonably self-contained. It's not completely isolated, but it's well self-contained. And then it has thermal barriers in the machine at various places to maintain a high thermal stability. In fact, the machine that supplies the coolant in here can achieve a millikelvin of thermal stability of the fluid, which gives around about 10 millikelvins of thermal stability in the machine itself. And then for vibration, it's not a high mass machine like traditional single point.
You've still got axes moving in different directions.
You've still got a lot of axes. You've got 6 axes moving in different directions, but this achieves its positional precision by using dynamic feedback. It's continually reacting to the position of the workpiece and the tool on 2 linear trackways and a third in the Z direction and spindle speeds to continuously compensate for its motion and its position within the machining cycle.
Now, I think I know the answer to this, but how much of all of this has been developed here?
Virtually all of it, actually. Even the machine which develops the very high control of the thermal coolant, it's been developed under the EPSRC funded project, as this was our middle platform. And so all the dynamic controls been developed here. We've got, as a university, we've got quite a lot of papers published on the dynamic control and the stability of this system.
And what will happen once this machine is proven and it's a success in somebody's production environment? Would I be able to buy this type of technology as an engineer in the UK?
As part of our project, we do have to have a commercialisation route for each of the 3 platforms we developed. And in the case of this one, it's been spun out into a company called Loxam Precision. So this is now called the Micro 4 Machining Centre from Loxam Precision. And you can buy it with various options on there, including the automated loader, unloader. It's got an automated tool changer, which was developed under an Innovate UK programme as well.
Now, as a developer and a designer of machine tools, when you come to buy one commercially, you obviously know what's the best for you, and that happened here, did it, with this Kern?
Yeah, several years ago we bought the Kern to help us with projects that we didn't sometimes our machines are very precise, but they're quite slow because of that precision. So we need something which was faster, has things which the older machines don't have, such as the automated tool changer.
And when we talk about speed, I mean, how fast is this kern?
It's got a spindle speed of around about 50,000 RPM on the main turning drive.
And what would you be machining here on this?
We do a lot of we use carbide tools sometimes rather than diamond on this as well, and so we can do hardened steels for molds, for micro molding, for micro injection molding, and also we can do different metals on this than we can do with our single point diamond turning, although we can put single point diamond turn tool in here as well.
And do you recognise the quality of this machine as a result of your knowledge on building machine tools?
Absolutely. You know, Kern are definitely one of the global leaders in high precision machine tool manufacturing in the world, and it's a sort of machine that we wouldn't even try to compete with if people wanted the level of precision and the technology that's available in this machine. And
it's a multi-axis machine, isn't it? It's a five-axis, or is it seven-axis?
It's a seven-axis one, actually. I'm not sure we always use all seven axes, in fairness, but it has that facility at least.
And the machine's not running at the moment, so you're not using it in a production environment, are you? But it is capable of that.
It is capable of that, and this is a machine designed for a production environment. We're a university, so we don't have a production throughput like a traditional jobbing machine shop would have. So we use it for specialty projects, as I say, like micro molding tools, for making parts for other machines we're building. Because of its relatively high throughput compared to some of the more precise but slower machines, we use this quite a lot for making our own parts.
And you can get these machines from Rainford Precision in the UK?
We certainly buy all our tools from Rainford Precision, and I think this one actually did come from Arthur Turner at Rainford Precision, so yeah, there you go.
And this is a great example in here of machines that you've developed years ago, and you're now using them to make parts for new machinery.
Yeah, indeed. We're using this one in particular, very large. It's probably the largest currently still in use in the world single point diamond turning machine for making parts for our own machines and parts for big science projects. And there's a smaller machine behind you there which is probably one of the most precise in the world today because of its thermal and its positional control. And we make again mirrors for James Webb Space Telescope and the Boltzmann sphere on that, and we also make our own spindles on that machine as well. So we're using the machines we've developed. And
when were they developed? How are we going back a decade or even further?
This one, even further, this one was developed towards the end of the 1970s, specifically to make the UK's independent nuclear deterrent, or to make machines that could do that.
So what would that turn to now?
Now this can turn over 1.6 metres to around about 10 microns of precision. The one behind, as I say, can get down to nanometers under the right control conditions. Yeah.
And now these machines are available to purchase via a supplier, are they? Maybe not in the UK, but somewhere around the globe?
Yeah, I'm not sure if anybody could possibly still manufacture this machine, but the one behind you is available actually from a company called Cranfield Precision, but it's owned by 5 Synetics now.
We're going to conclude our tour today here, Martin, in this workshop. What does this department do?
In here we have our large area coordinate measurement metrology system, we have our large area grinding machine, and we also have our reactive atom plasma figuring. In this area we tend to deal mostly with the glasses. We do large glass parts in this department.
Now this is some CMM. This is huge. Yeah, I mean, is it it's one of the biggest I've seen. Is it one of the biggest that's available?
It's one of the biggest in the UK, that's for sure, and certainly of this type with the solid base, it's the largest. And the thing we've actually adapted this for is, again, higher precision. So we can measure roughly to a micron over this volume, and it's about 3 by 2 by 1.5 metre volume on there.
So you're getting some pretty good, you're measuring some pretty tight tolerances there. Now this machine is obviously a bought machine, the Lights machine from Hexagon Intelligence. The other machines here, are they again partly machines that you've developed in the past that you're now bringing through to use for your manufacturing processes as well?
Yeah, the majority of the machines are. The grinding machine, the box grinder, is certainly one we developed under a Research Council project. That's now commercialised through IBS Precision in Holland. And we have a large reactive atom plasma figuring machine, which was initially commercialised in the United States, but the machine itself was brought back to the UK for further development.
And the compact grinder you're talking about is the one behind you here?
The one behind me here, yeah.
And why are you calling this compact?
It's compact because although it's 3 by 2 meters, it can actually operate on pieces which are not much smaller than that. So it can operate on glasses of 1.6 meter diameter. So it's compact in comparison to the piece it's working on. In itself, it's quite large.
You've got a great team here. How many people are at Ultra Precision?
We've got a staff complement of around about 20 people in the precision engineering group here at Cranfield, and then we have around 12 or so PhD researchers, and then we have a shared cohort of MSc students across the whole of the materials and manufacturing department. So that can vary up to 1,000 a year, but not all of them are here in precision.
And is it quite exciting because you don't really know what projects are coming next, do you? I mean, all kinds of things you could be approached to make machinery for.
There's two levels of excitement actually. One is the large science projects that we get, like the extremely large telescope European segments we're doing. And the other is that we're very heavily connected to commercial companies like Hexagon, who helped us with this machine, and IBS with the. So we do get, our students are very fortunate that they do get real industrial experience, even though they're developing research projects.
This is my first time at Cranfield today, and I didn't know that this existed to this degree, so it's been a pleasure. Thanks for your time.
Thank you, it's my pleasure, and unfortunately most people don't realise what's behind the door.
Hopefully they will now.
Thank you, I hope so too.